You believe this is our last blab
of 2015?
Where in the name has the time gone?
I was looking back at our recordings because I was uploading some of the old ones to YouTube, and we started doing this August, September?
Yeah, so you started before me, so I think I was probably into tail end of September into October. Yeah.
That was really quick.
Yeah, because I started to look back when I was doing some setup for YouTube, and I started to number the episodes just so that I could keep track of them.
Yeah.
I think this is, for me, this is number 9.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'd only done a few before you, like maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. Thank you again for pulling me onto this platform.
I'm so glad that you were here with me to share all the Blab gloriousness. So
I know, it's funny because I think I was the one that told you about the platform, and then before I knew it, you were on there doing your thing, and I'm like, hey.
Well, I knew. So here's the thing: is I obviously I spend a lot of time reading up on social media. What's the latest and greatest? That's what people pay me to know. And so I had been hearing all this stuff and experimenting with all the live streaming.
Yep.
Periscope and Meerkat. Hey, Caressa. I know you. We talked yesterday a whole bunch on our various groups that we're in. But hello, welcome.
Oh, well, I'm going to follow you, Caressa, so I find out who you are.
He puts out good stuff. So I'd been experimenting with the different stuff, and I tried Periscope and Meerkat, and I didn't like them because I felt like I was talking to myself.
Yeah, it's a wee bit weird. I felt like I can understand why people use Periscope, but for me, it's a bit of an ego trip.
I mean, it's another way to push out your content.
Of course, okay. Of course. I've seen it used quite cleverly, actually, rather than just people rambling on and not talking to anybody. They've maybe done it as part of a launch strategy where they do like so many days in a row or something. So I can understand, why it's working for some people. But yeah,
But you've got to have a strategy for it. It can't just be, I'm just going to do it to hear myself talk. So I think it was you that pointed me towards Blab. Yeah, you can use it if you're using it the right way. It's great. Yeah. It wasn't for me. You
can see that we just like chat, Caressa, so we just like the whole chatty.
Like, whatever. So my first reason that I wanted to get on Blab and check it out was because of developing the group coaching stuff that I had been thinking about at the time, and wondering if it was a good platform to do group coaching. I don't think it is, because you can't screen share, you can't whatever, but that was what initially got me to check it out, was I wonder if I could use this.
However, newsflash, news just in, I was in a group, and I'm sure it was maybe probably one of those days this week when I was doing Netflix sessions and I was scrolling through my feed. Somebody went on and did a Blab and did a slide share. And it was the Blab team that were testing it, so that I think that's coming soon. So watch out for the updates. I know we can't do private ones yet for like group coaching calls, because I would be the same. That would just be amazing, because everything else is just really glitchy. And I know this has got its kind of ups and downs as well, but it would be fantastic for a coaching session. But yes, SlideShare, as far as I'm aware, you can share screens, you can share YouTube videos. Blab, if you're listening, I think I'm correct in saying that. So
I'm curious as to kind of the whole reason, and it's fine to do it for free. Obviously, a lot of people do the free webinars, slide shares, whatever, to get the information out there. But the point of doing it for free is that you're getting leads and you're capturing those email addresses and whatever. So I'm wondering how they're going to address that part of it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a great platform. What it is so far, when you think we've been using it, we were just talking about how long we've been using it. And it's so easy, it's so straightforward, it's not complicated, it's linked to Twitter, you can do your smile, let's send out a GIF.
Right.
So yeah, it's worked out pretty well so far, I would say.
Awesome. And for us,
Mm.
service-based businesses,
Yeah.
I often get the, let's go to coffee. I want to talk to you about your business. And sometimes that's great. Sometimes it isn't. I'm meeting somebody for coffee today, but what is too easy to get sucked into is people that want to pick your brain and get all the goodness that's in your head for free.
Yeah.
And you've put on real pants, you've brushed your hair, and you've driven to whatever coffee shop that they're going to. You're paying your $5 for a latte.
Yeah.
You're waiting for them. They're late or not late, whatever. And then you're trying to protect your intellectual property and your expertise and trying to just tell them more about your business. And then, and it ends up being, it's not an ordeal. I mean, there are times that that's appropriate and, whatever. You kind of have to judge based on your feeling about the person. But this is a great way to kind of have open office hours, which is kind of why we started it.
And you get to drink gin. Bearing in mind, people, it is 5:30 here in Scotland, so cheers.
There's no judging on our Blab.
We don't. Caressa, I don't normally drink gin. I promise. It's just that it's the last Blab of the season.
No. So for me, I'm on West Coast, and it's 9:30 a.m. and Kat is over in good old Scotland.
Yeah.
So this time works out perfectly. It's early in the morning for me and later in the evening for her. So I always have my coffee mug of the day. This is the coffee mug of the day.
It's a good mug. And by the way, if you've not tuned in and seen Cara's mugs, yeah, I sounded a bit rude, but you know what I mean? You need to tune in for mug of the day because they are amazing. I've actually got mug envy most of the time. So yeah.
I have quite the collection. It's a hobby of mine. So, and I might or might not have a little something in here to celebrate our last Blab of 2015.
Hey Charlie, are you commenting on my Scottish accent or Cara's American accent? I've got a feeling it might be me again. Everybody thinks my accent is hilarious.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, I like to say that I have a total rubber face and I make tons of faces, and Kat has this amazing accent, and so it's really a show that's just not to miss.
Yeah, so, I mean, we do have sensible conversations sometimes, and we give out some good stuff, in our
really good nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to, for consistency, Cara, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, you go first this time. So I'm not sucked into interrupting you because I just want to start talking.
That's quite all right. Okay, so I'm Kat with the Scottish accent. My business is called Straight Talking Ginger. For those who don't know, it kind of does what it says on the tin. I was afforded the name, and as I've said before, most people get offended by things like that, but I chose to embrace it as part of my brand. No fluff, no bullshit, just get straight to the point. I'm a different style of coach. So I like to call myself a mind detective, a term I have coined for myself. And I work with small business and entrepreneurs, and really my main focus is pulling out your strengths, getting under the hood of actually what your zone of genius is, because we focus on our skills, and especially when we set out on this crazy career path that is running a business, we kind of forget that we're the center of it and that we need to make sure we've got the right mindset. So I work with entrepreneurs to make sure that they are absolutely focused and leveraging those strengths for as much profit as they can get. And I don't mean it's all about money, it's just so that it makes things easier for them. It's a path of least resistance, and it's all about personal blueprint, which I will bang on about, no doubt, in this hour and a half that we do an open office hour. So that's kind of what I do. I give people, Cara loves this word, I kick up the bahookie.
You said it.
In Scotland, that just means your ass. So, yeah. That's kind of what I do. So, okay. Cara, over to you.
So Kat and I are sisters from another mister because we very much have the same personality and attitude. No fluff, no BS. I'm gonna just tell you what you need and cut out all of the fluffy stuff. So I am a social media strategist. I help small businesses and solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, you know, that whole group of people figure out what they need to be doing on social media. It's frustrating for people when you're trying to run your own business. Your time and your energy and your value is on what you're doing for your business, what your business is all about. And social media is super essential, but it is the biggest time waster and it can be really confusing. And the biggest problem is that business owners don't know how to analyze and figure out if what they're doing is working. So I help business owners figure that out and come up with strategies and talk them through what they need to be doing, how they need to be doing it, and exactly their roadmap for their success. So that's pretty much it.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah. I blog every week. I'm usually dropping some nugget of goodness or a free worksheet or a, you know, whatever. I have retainer clients, and I also do like one-off strategies for businesses where they're not quite at retainer level, but they really need like a totally custom strategy. I do that. So, and I drink a lot of coffee, a lot of coffee.
Yeah, that's the difference between us. You do the coffee and I do the tea.
Drink. And I'm going to apologize because I think I'm getting a little bit of a cold. So you might see me doing this throughout our Blab today, and I am sorry.
That's okay. We can't catch bugs.
Right. That's the benefit of not meeting in a coffee shop.
Correct. Woohoo! There's a benefit right there.
Yes, yes. So we met in a Facebook group that we both belong to and realized we have very similar previous career backgrounds, very similar personalities, and our choice of business and what we do and help business owners with overlaps very nicely. Kat, you know, you do the small business side of things with the owners themselves, and I'm teaching them how to continue to be productive with social media. So,
yeah. And what we kind of said that we would talk about, we always put out the same topic for consistency, and every week we always talk around that, so we kind of take a different slant on it, but it's just for consistency so people know what to expect from us. And Cara and I were just chatting before we came on air, because that's kind of what we do, although we do a catch up. we do a bit of a social catch up, and then we sort out all the crap that we've been through this week, and then we think, right, what will we talk about? And
what are we going to blab on and on and on about today?
Like, are we going to come up with something new? But there's always loads to talk about, because as we were saying, we both run small businesses and we both hit this kind of crap all the time. So it's real life experience. That's why we want to kind of share that value for people. And what we decided to talk about today was why it was so important to hire an expert in your business. Now, we're not just saying that to plug ourselves. The reason we're saying that is we've both been in that position where we've both hired experts in their field, because what we've found is people who start up businesses, you know, that they start off with this great gusto, and the internet is this amazing resource of information, but it's also this bloody ocean of information. And by the time you've spent 3 weeks trying to work out how to do a Facebook ad, you know, and even then you don't know if you've done it right or if it works, and then you're faffing around and you're speaking to people. You could have hired an expert, got them in, and they could have set up your whole strategy. But somebody like Cara, job done.
Yeah.
And we've both done that in our business. I've went for coaching in my business, because I always think if I'm doing coaching, I need to be coached as well. And I've got some great mentors as well that I can call on, because you can't do it on your own. And I get that we all need to hustle. I get that budgets are tight when you're running things like that. But the temptation is to not get that return on your investment for your own time, because you have to remember, when you're sitting there spending hours going down a rabbit hole of a digital nature online looking for the answers and watching all those YouTube videos and getting sucked in to, you know, everything known to man, whatever you charge an hour, that's what you've just paid for that time. So
Uh-huh.
if you have quite a, both Cara and I are kind of middle level businesses. We're not cheap. We're not kind of charging the earth either. But when we think about our hourly rate, that's massive. It's a massive amount of time that could be better spent on employing a professional to do it properly.
Right. And I don't know about you, when I first started, I spent a ton of time reading the articles and signing up for free courses and free webinars and all this. It was kind of that, how do I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
What am I missing? And like we were talking about that Facebook group that you were talking about earlier, and the school that's like a couple $1,000s, right?
Yeah.
And how the temptation is, if I'm not exactly where I want to be, even though I'm doing everything that I need to do and it's a process and everything is fine.
Yeah.
If you're not exactly where you want to be, you think, well, I'll just sign up for another class, or I'll just, whatever it is. But it comes back to, and Kat, you can speak to this, it comes back to, you're still the common denominator.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I'm a big believer in, once you work out what you're brilliant at, because as I've said, if you've been in that corporate world, or you've had a job of whatever description before you decide to get into business for yourself, you're still in that employee mindset. But as soon as you start up in business, you become an employer because you're employing yourself. And that's a whole different ballgame. And the temptation is, in this book, again, sister from another mister, hilarious, both Cara and I bought this particular book.
And we're reading it at the same time and didn't know it.
Yeah, so it's called Essentialism. If you ever read one book, just read this book.
Yeah.
You just like
over and over again.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you this graphic because this just sums it up for me in one page, one picture, about why you should be focusing on what you're great at and not being a jack of all trades. And I'll hold it up. So here, hopefully you can see it. So yeah. This is I am the jack of all trades, and look, I'm moving in tiny little directions, but I'm doing my social media myself, and I'm doing my accounts myself, and I'm doing my coaching because I don't think I need coached. And I'm doing all these different things, whereas actually, if you focus on the thing that you're bloody fantastic at,
which is why you started your business in the first place.
Right. Yeah, you didn't start it to work 7 hours a week, have no time with your pals,
right,
and be burnt out and pull the duvet over your head on a Monday morning. You started it for something bigger than that. And that, my friends, sums it up.
Now, I will say that you can't always start that way. Like everybody in the beginning starts with a budget. Everybody starts with like, okay, here's my list of priorities. And here, as soon as I start being profitable, here's how I'm going to start making everything into that one arrow. That's the goal.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think everybody starts off with all of the, I've got to do everything right now. And quite frankly, I think you kind of should, because it's the best way to know your business inside and out from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I think the temptation is when you're when you're now 6 months down the line or a year down the line, and you haven't taken the time to reflect on what's working and what's not working,
right,
and you don't really understand you've forgotten what it is that you're great at.
Is reading 6 times a day working for you? Do you even know?
Exactly. And that's the problem. As we said, even before we came on air, there's only 24 hours in the day.
Yep.
You need to use them productively. Now, I was just admittedly, I am queen of productivity. Anybody who knows me knows I love a list, or 3 actually, which is maybe for another previous.
I love your 3 lists. I love it.
And as I say, I'm normally fine. For the last 3 days, I haven't been able to do a thing. I don't know why. My brain just hasn't been in the right gear.
Brain knows why, somewhere in there.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is, at least I know where I'm going to go back and focus, because I've done the work. Right. I've reflected on 2015. I know what works. I know what doesn't, and I'm going to make that change up for the new year. Right. And you start at the beginning. Your budget's low. You might have left your job, you might have been sacked, or not have any cash reserve behind you, and you need to make this blinking thing work. And the
Right.
last thing you want to do is shell out money when you don't really know what you're paying for a lot of the time. But the key to it is there's so many other ways to get help, whether it's like-minded groups, or I've just invited Cara into a platform, vendive.com. That is an amazing platform. They are a startup too, so they get it. And
I got on there and I was like, oh my God, where have you people been all my life?
And I'm so sorry, I should have put you in sooner. But it's a great place. You can showcase your stuff. You can ask questions and get some amazing answers back. You can swap your services while you're not in a position to, you can, like, I need this, I've got this, let's do a swap.
Right.
It's a great place to do that where your budget's really low, but you're still getting a great community of people who are like-minded.
It's a high quality of people. That's the biggest difference. It's a high quality of business owners.
Yeah.
So, but I want to touch on, because we had this whole conversation before our Blab today about why you should hire a professional and what you're getting. And Kat and I have both run into the issue of small business owners not quite understanding the value of what the services are that we provide.
Yeah.
And there being some misconception or misunderstanding, or just, not having that. Hold on 1 second. Windows update.
Oh.
Go away. How about 3:30 a.m.?
Oh, yeah.
My goodness, that's ridiculous. Okay, I'm back. Right in the middle of my screen, it was like, okay, no, restart your computer. No, I do not want to restart my computer.
Been there, blue screen of death once already. So carry on.
So, the two, social media is interesting. It is a ever-evolving field. It is a young industry, even though it's been around for a while now, but it changes so quickly. I think a lot of older small business owners associate social media with millennials.
Yeah.
That whole thing. And, there's two sides of the spectrum. There are the business owners that think they should pay somebody in pizza to tweet for them.
Yep.
Or they are big enough and successful enough to hire an agency, whether it's a social media agency or it's a marketing agency that does social media, but that whole agency thing, and they're paying out the nose $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
Right? Which is ridiculous. And I've worked for an agency, and I've worked on my own, and I've done the tweeting for next to nothing and all of that. So I've been through the entire spectrum.
Yeah.
And what business owners don't understand is it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Those are not your only two choices.
No, absolutely.
If you go into business for yourself, the whole point is having choices and doing things the way you want to do them, right?
Hey, Anita, are you from Halifax? You're new. I think I've been on a couple of your blabs. Would that be right? Yeah. Ooh, nice. I love the props for getting it right. Me, my brain works and everything. I am on fire tonight.
Welcome, Anita. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you do social media, don't you, Anita? Yeah, I'm sure you do, if I remember rightly.
And you can understand what I'm talking about. I don't know how much you just heard, but I was talking about how you heard nothing. I heard nothing. How many times I've said that in my life?
Strategic.
So I was talking about how, as a social media strategist, the hurdle that I have to get over when I'm selling my services to people is the misperception of they either want to pay somebody in pizza or they're going to pay an agency $80,000 a year to tweet for them. And it doesn't seem like they really understand the value of social media or the purpose of social media. They either want to throw a ton of money at it and don't really know what they're getting, or they're checking a box, but they don't really know why they're doing that in the first place.
Yeah.
So the reason I do things differently and how I do things differently is I, from the get-go, talk to whatever small business or solopreneur that is interested in my services about what their marketing objectives are. What are your objectives for your business? It is not about me coming in and saying, here's your brochure on all of these platforms, how many times a day you should be doing it, at what times, knowing nothing about your business, whatever, like this blanket, like all these pins that you see on Pinterest about best times to post. That's all a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it doesn't have anything to do with your business or your analytics or, you know, your website traffic or whatever. So
sorry, I'm cutting you across, Carrot, but that's exactly it. It's about the analytics, and that's what they're actually paying you for, is understanding the analytics, unpacking it, not having to bore them with the stuff that they don't need to know about, but actually showing what the return on the investment is and the outcome-driven part of it, which comes back to the main objective in the first place. Is that right?
So the main objective is your business growing.
Yeah.
And social media is an essential part of PR and marketing. It doesn't stand on its own. It has to integrate with those plans for your business.
Yeah.
And you can't, there's no point in doing social media if you're not tracking to see if it's working, how it's working, what you need to change. And social media always changes. There are some months that are absolutely fantastic. And then you do the same thing the next month and it doesn't work as well. And you have to go in and go, okay, well, why didn't that work so well? That's fine. It's information. Let's tweak it and figure out maybe what to do differently.
Yeah, definitely.
When you hire a VA or an intern or a kid out of college to tweet for you 6 times a day, that's, and you're even worse, telling them to come up with the content.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say about it. It seems so obvious to me that it's like, why would you do that? I mean, if you are on a budget as a small business owner to begin, I can't even, right? If you are on a small budget to begin with, why would you even pay somebody in pizza to do something that you have no idea whether it's working or not, or what value it provides, or how it's helping your business expand?
Yeah, and I mean, that's really why we wanted to, although we're doing the same topic, we promote the same topic every week. Today, the subtopic is that why you need to be hiring a professional in your business, and not just to plug us or everybody else who offers a service out there. The reality is, the reason they're an expert is because they've done this stuff. They've done everything in the background. As I've said to Cara, I am the productivity queen. I defy anybody to be more productive than me, because I've done it. You know, I've been project manager. My background lends itself to that, and I do all the strengths coaching. But when people were like, well, I'll just do one of the free, or drives me mad, a free quiz on Facebook. Yeah, because that'll sort out your whole personality profiling, do you know?
And you just gave them access to all of your private information, which was just totally stupid. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing you need to know about Cara and I. We're a bit security conscious, shall I say. So yeah, it's quite a frustrating thing when people, we have to go through that educating phase of qualifying our customers and our clients so that they absolutely know what it is that we're giving them and what value we're giving to them. And I understand that, but if they don't even understand the objective in the first place, that can be a really challenging discussion, one which I'm more than willing to have with most, you know, as long as they're action takers, I'm up for it. But yeah, it's really challenging when the internet is flooded with that myth of, for you, oh, I'll just pay somebody in pizza or I'll get an intern in, and that's the social done. Yeah, and for me, it's like, oh, well, I'll just go and do a wee quiz on Facebook and I'll know everything about myself. And you're like, oh, right, okay. And that's fine. That's what you want to do. That's fine. But for us, we've both had that experience where we've employed professionals in our business to move us forward. And for those who didn't see earlier, this is the book that Cara and I kind of absolutely rave about. And this little graphic sums it up for me. if you spend ages on the internet doing all of this jazz, when actually if you just focus on the one thing that you're great at, you're going to move much faster. So that little graphic just sums it up for me. So thanks, Greg McCune.
Perfect. Well, and then for me, on the other side of the spectrum are the medium-sized businesses that are doing fantastically well, and they are ready to totally up-level their social media game. They want to do a contest or like a campaign, or, you know, they want to go big with their social media. So they think, well, I'm going to hire an agency, pay them $80,000 a year. And let me tell you, I've worked for an agency. You always get the line about you're going to have these super experienced people, our best people, the manager this, manager that. Yeah. What's really happening is you're getting the entry-level worker bee, and you're paying for their overhead, and they're, like I say on the video that I'm putting out soon, you're paying for their cool hipster loft space and the ping pong table. Right? And it's, you know, I'm not trying to like super knock them down, because there is a place for that, and they're successful for a reason.
Yeah.
But that's not your only choice, and you don't need to pay for it. If you just want to throw money at stuff, cool, whatever. That's your deal. Like if that's what you want to do, and I'm not going to convince you otherwise, cool, go do your thing. Yeah. But if you're looking for a professional that is in the middle, not a do-it-yourselfer, and not paying $80,000 a year, there are other options out there. And it's finding someone like me or Kat, or there are many other people that really know what they're doing and can really help your business. And you should hire a professional, because if you're doing it yourself, you're not paying money, you're paying time and value and resources. And if you're hiring at the top end of the spectrum, you don't really often know what's going on behind the scenes, and they're usually taking you for a ride.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it. As you say, not everybody's your customer.
Right.
The people that offer those different level of services, absolutely, there's a need at different levels for that. So as you say, we're not saying, oh, everybody's terrible, the world is a bad place and everything's rubbish. Not at all. What we're saying is there are many forms out there at many levels of everything that's offered. And I mean, I've always been quite upfront about my business and coaching. I struggle with the word coaching because coaching is all about, you have all the answers and let's just talk that through. I am not that style of coach. I want to get you from A to B in as quick a time as possible, so that you've got a map. You can call on me, you can come back to me, but I'm not into this year of coaching where I get paid thousands of dollars and you
listen to somebody's problems and have them not move forward because
I can't work with people like that. It wouldn't be fair to work with people like that. If that's who you are, there are plenty of coaches out there who will fulfill that need for a softer approach.
Right.
My company's called Straight Talking Ginger for a reason. Yeah. I want to move people, not to cut corners or to shortcut anything, but to get proper action takers who are like, Kat, show me how to do it, tell me what to do, give me a roadmap, give me my blueprint, because I'm a big fan of everybody has their own blueprint. It's not a case of following MD else. Role models are great, but I'm talking about your own personal blueprint for doing things. Yeah. And that's what I work with people to do, to get that result so that they can refer to it time and time and time again. So it's not you do it and then you forget about it and it sits in a dusty shelf. It's about, right, this is my blueprint. What do I do with that again? Right, okay, now I know how to move forward. Right. That's my style of coaching. And, you know, the internet is awash with different style of coaching. I'm not competing with any of them. No. I have my own particular client style, and you either get it or you don't. And that's the same for everybody. When I was seeking out a coach and mentors of my own, people automatically are drawn to people who are like them. But that's not necessarily a good thing, because you're not maybe getting challenged enough.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I really wanted people who were going to challenge my thinking and not just pat me in the head and go, Kat, that's brilliant, that's a great idea, you're doing everything fantastic. I want to know, is that right? What's your view? Have you got a different perspective than me? And I chose mentors from completely different backgrounds from me. So not in the coaching world. I do have coaches that coach me, but I've also got people that I can call on who are not in the same industry. as me, and my goodness, does it give you a completely different perspective, and it breaks down a lot of your thought processes where you've made huge assumptions, which is, I didn't think I would do. Cara and I are the same. We're both very research, detailed people, project-driven people. So I always test my hypothesis. You know, I constantly like, is that right? Is that wrong? But to get a completely different perspective, and that's why I've always went with professionals who challenge me.
It's smart.
It's just what I do.
Good job. Really smart.
Thanks very much.
Anita, if you want to jump in, we would love to have you jump in, give your perspective, your questions, or your thoughts about what we're blabbing about. So feel free. Megan. Hi, Megan. Sorry, I'm feeling a little slow today. I think I am getting sick. Ugh.
You've got a lot of like, you're sneezing and stuff. That's a shame.
It is, especially just listening while you work. Okay, fine. Yeah.
That's no problem. Anita's blabs are good, by the way. You need to watch Anita's blabs.
I'm going to follow you as soon as we're done here. And remember, we're on a short timeline today. Have to be done at 10:30.
All right. Okay. What is that? Half an hour from now?
Yes. A little less than half an hour.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, it's something I've definitely struggled with as far as me selling my services and getting over that perception. You know, yeah. There's so much information out there, and some of it is good and some of it is crap.
Yep.
And if you're spending so much time trying to figure out what's good and what's crap, like if I see one more infographic about the best times to post on social media, oh my God. Stop.
Well, it's funny because obviously the online world for me is fairly awash with America and Canada and Australia, and the UK is kind of, maybe I'm just missing the people from the UK or Scotland in particular. But what's really funny is you get all that advice and I'm thinking, I'm in my bed. You know, when I'm supposed, don't get me wrong, I schedule whole loads of stuff. But you know, when I was first starting out, I thought, how the heck can I reach people when like I'm in my bed and vice versa and all that stuff? So a lot of those infographics are really not helpful depending on what part of the world.
They look pretty. And that's the thing, like when I first started doing social media a few years ago, and everybody started talking about best times to post, because that didn't come into the picture until even like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And everybody started talking about it. My first question was always, what time zone are you talking about? What time zone are you talking about? Like, and it never made sense to me. And it was always one of those, like, there's a piece of the puzzle missing here. Like, where are you getting this information? Me being a trained investigator was like, where are you getting this information?
Where's your evidence?
Where's your evidence? Where are you getting this information? And where are your like resources? Like how are you putting this together? Because it doesn't make sense, because there are how many different time zones in the world? So how do you know? And so then I started investigating further and was like, well, doesn't it matter where your target audience is?
Bingo.
Right? So it doesn't matter where I am. If I've got a huge Australian following for whatever reason, why would I post for the best time to post where I am? Exactly. It has to be, and it's like, I realized that having kind of that surface level guideline is good to get people started. But if you're really serious about your business being successful, you're really serious about your social media being a super successful and on point part of your marketing plan, you've got to ask those questions, and you've really got to think critically about, what am I doing? How am I doing it? And how do I measure those results?
But I think that's what people are frightened of. As soon as you say metrics, they're like, oh, melting.
I want to do that.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, and this is what I bang on about all the time, it's metrics are so important as long as they're the right one. And vanity metrics like number of followers and all that jazz is just a load of mince. So that's why you need to be hiring a professional. My evidence comes from a completely different place. It's still metrics. It's still about the person and the metrics of the person. But if that's not right in the first place, it doesn't really matter how many goals you set up.
No.
If you don't have a strategy and a plan to reach those goals and a measurement to do that, forget it. And actually, controversially, I've posted in a group today.
Tell me.
Wait for it. You don't need goals. Goals are a load of crap these days, says the goal queen, right? You need a system. That's my new mantra. That's my mantra for 2016.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, so I teach about
my mantra is for 2016, simplicity.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because this is the thing. I mean, I teach a lot about goals because, believe it or not, most people, I would say about 90 point something % of people that I work with set their goals wrong. And you're thinking, how's that possible? But they set them wrong, and they're actually setting themselves up for failure. So I've decided that whilst I still teach the goal stuff and I teach it the right way, is forget about it. Forget about your goals. You need a system. You need a system. You need a habit. And if you're not that person that's really good at deadlines or processes, then you need to find somebody, virtual or otherwise, that's going to help you do that. So if you're the big ideas person and all that other analytics and detail is not you, you need to find somebody that complements you to fill that gap. That's what you need to be focusing on. Fill the gaps. Get a process.
I cannot even imagine. I mean, social media is my business. It's what I do. It's my expertise. I find it fascinating. And I love doing it. I cannot imagine trying to run an entirely different business and figure out the analytics for my social media every month. Huge hurdle that would mentally and emotionally be to like sit down and, okay, I need to do this. Oh my God, that would be like torture for somebody that's not their thing.
I know. It's like somebody who hates spreadsheets. That's going to be their idea of hell.
Right. So, and I was just doing the reporting for one of my clients a couple days ago, and going back to you have to know what you're measuring. You have to know like the value of, not paying attention to the vanity metrics. I'm all about engagement. Obviously, engagement is where you get that brand affinity, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going through the platforms that she's on, and I do video reporting. So I record my screen and walk through, instead of them looking at a 15-page slide deck of bullshit. Agency. And so I'm going through and I'm like, you know what, your followers on Instagram, for the last 30 days, you only got like 5 more followers on Instagram, whatever it was, but your engagement increased by 157%.
Yeah.
What do you think is the more important metric?
Exactly. Conversations, social media, social.
Exactly. And it takes somebody explaining that, because I think a lot of people that don't understand social media, the vanity, they just don't know any better. They think, well, how many more followers do I have? How many more followers do I have? And it's not, you don't know if those followers are spam or not. I mean, what?
Exactly. And it's funny because I changed that kind of thought, probably once I got to know you, Cara, really kind of focused on that a bit more, about the engagement and understanding that part of it, because it's easy to just get caught up in automating and, you know, churning out content, which is fine. But you do need to engage. And as soon as I started to do that, both online and in the real world, the amount of clients that I've had reach out to me locally. So I've got a gig in January to get and speak to, a whole load of budding entrepreneurs who are ready to kind of start out on their own, which I would never have got if I hadn't have been engaged on Twitter, not just following people, but actually having a conversation. And, being invited to be part of some quite amazing groups as a result of it. And it's all about the engagement. So you maybe get a follow from somebody. I know you can't follow everybody back, and there's a whole load of people on there, and you say there's some whole load of spam stuff as well. Right. But if you can get the time to even spend 10 minutes flicking through who's just followed you, have a quick look at their profile, and are they somebody that you want to reach out to? Are they somebody that you want to, oh, I see you've tweeted about whatever. That's really interesting. Tell me more about it. That's all it takes sometimes. And before you know it, you're having a bit of a conversation. Right, do you want to go on Skype, or do you want to meet in person? Whatever it is. And that's really what's changed for me. So whilst my following has gone up, my engagement, more importantly, has just, it's changed.
That's the point.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's funny how, until I really spoke to you and understood it, because again, back to the arrows in the circle, I was doing so much other stuff. And again, you know, the internet was awash with, you need to do this, and you need to post so many times a day, and you need to be using this automation, you need to be on Pinterest, you need to be on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And so you're just like, right, I'll just put something out, and not really understanding what it is that you're trying to achieve with it. Right. And actually, it's about conversation. It's as simple as conversations.
Yep.
But you're just churning stuff out and you're not speaking to people. Like, this is a perfect platform to be able to speak to people. We get to have a laugh. I get to drink gin for Christmas on air while I'm doing it. Oh. Right, it's it's back at 6 now for me. You're in the morning. That's ridiculous. But yeah, that's my point.
But you're right. And the thing is you have to engage, but what happens with people is they get sucked in, and before they know it, it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and they've been, excuse my French, dicking around on social media all day. They haven't done what they need to do. They don't really know what they're needing to do, and the day's over and they haven't attended to their business.
Yeah.
So
it's so easy to do that. So
there's some stuff you should be automating, but you have to, and I don't time block, because I find that way too restrictive, and I have a toddler, and I have a, you know, and it's like, there's no way that I can say every Monday at this time, that just doesn't happen. So I have a checklist every day.
You have your blueprint, Cara, is what you have.
I have my blueprint, and I have my checklist blueprint, where I say, I need to do this on Facebook every day. I need to do this on Twitter every day. I need to check my notifications. And I do one of those for myself and for each client, where I'm like, for this client, this is what I need to do every day. Mm-hmm. And I'm in and I'm out. And then I'm working on developing my business and my courses and whatever I've got, you know, going on, or, you know, whatever I need to do around the house to live my life. So, but, you know, there have been times where I'm like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing today. And I'll get on Pinterest and look up a bunch of stuff and get sucked in. And then before you know it, I'm buying a hot glue gun on Amazon and all, you know, and it's like, and then I turn around and I'm like, I haven't done dishes. I need to pick up my kid from school. What the hell am I going to make for dinner? And it just gets ridiculous. And I've been there and I've done that. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Right? And that's the thing. Not everybody is. And we're not kind of sitting here on, you know, our towers, you know, and whatever you want to call it, saying you're fabulous and we do everything right. And you know what, I am the most productive person in the world, apart from the last 3 days when I've done nothing but watch Netflix. But you know, that's the thing, we're human beings, but as long as you have, as I always call it, your blueprint to fall back to, because you can get sucked in to all this stuff because you're aimlessly wandering through, and it's a classic sign of either overwhelm, you know, fear of not moving forward or knowing what it is you do and not reaching out for help.
Right.
And it's back to people working on their business, working in their business rather than working on their business.
Right.
And the whole point is you need to have that time and space to stop doing the daily grind, being sucked into nonsense, and actually plan out. Take 10 minutes. We're not talking about 3 months to plan. We're talking about 10 minutes to plan, even the next couple of days ahead, so that when you wake up and you're shattered, because I don't know about anybody else out there, I'm not really a morning person or a nighttime person or an anytime person.
I'm like a 9 to 4 person.
It's like, So when you wake up and you need those 3 cups of coffee or those 3 cups of tea before you can even work out what day it is, the last thing you want to be doing is sitting thinking, what am I supposed to
really need to do today?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, just have a plan, be flexible with your plan.
Yep. And let me tell you, for social media, if you are on every single platform, not every, but like 5 to 6 platforms, which I'm on because I have to know how to use them effectively for my clients, but I don't focus on all 5 to 6 platforms. I definitely know the ones that are the best for my business. But if you're a business that is capable of and should be on 5 to 6 platforms, you should not be spending more than an hour a day engaging in dealing with your platforms.
Yeah.
And you should be spending, on top of that, you should be spending an hour a week curating content to push out, and then probably an hour a week creating your own content, unless you're doing some like big video production thing or, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. An hour a day plus 2 hours per week for curating and creating. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
if you're on 2 to 3 platforms, half an hour a day. Yeah. And how many times have you like literally looked up and you're like, I've been on Pinterest for 3 hours.
Yeah. And right? Those amazing hot chocolate recipes now. But I know, but that's the thing, and I always explain it to people. I watch people respond to notifications, whether it's Facebook or email or whatever, right? And I know if something urgent's happening, your email, that's a different thing,
right?
But I always compare it to: would you go up to your front door and check it every 2 minutes to see if somebody's come and rang?
I love that.
Would you do that? No, but people insist on, I'll just check it again. I'll just check it again.
Has anybody liked my post?
Even though their phone gives them notifications and lights and vibrations and all the other good stuff, they still just check it again. No, it's like you wouldn't do that at your front door. So stop doing it. Turn it off.
Right.
Get what you got to get on with, set a time and get back to it later on. And as you say, when you do it later on, make sure you're either engaging with people or curating content of your own or of other people's.
Right.
That's it. It's straightforward, but you need to dive deeper than that. And that's why, to circle back what we were talking about at the beginning, was why you need to hire experts in your business to do this stuff for you. Because as small businesses, you'll go through that learning phase. You'll do I'm hustling, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to test. And you're kind of spinning your wheels. That's why we talk about spinning your wheels, because that's really what people are doing. They're stuck. Yeah. And then the overwhelm sets in. It's like, this is really hard. This is too hard. I don't have the money to pay for whatever X, Y, and Z, but you've just spent 20, 30 hours of your own time when you could have been out earning sales.
Right.
To pay for whatever it is.
I know that I'm stuck and I'm spinning my wheels when my inbox is full of unread messages that are all like course or information related stuff. And I haven't had the time to get to it. Right? But I know it and I recognize it when I go, oh, like my inbox is filling up and I haven't had time to get to the 3 courses that I signed up for, whatever. And they're emailing me and I haven't even had time to sit. Yeah, I don't need to be doing the courses.
Yeah.
I need to be sitting down and figure out, it's a distraction. And courses are great. I'm doing courses. You're doing courses.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is a distraction that is a subconscious thing, I think.
And I always think about courses, and you're absolutely right. We offer courses for that reason, because they serve a purpose. They allow people either to work at their own pace or within a group with you, depending on how they want to work with you.
Right.
But I always say, when I look at a new course, I give it at least sometimes 24, sometimes 48 hours to sit before I do that spontaneous purchase, to say, I am stuck with this. This new shiny object will solve all of my problems and I'll have world domination, and
this is it. This is the ticket.
Yeah, this is the thing that's going to solve all my problems. Give it 48 hours to question yourself. Is that the right thing? Is that an investment I want to make? And yes, tick, 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 it will serve these outcomes. If it doesn't do that for you,
right.
don't do it. Don't spend that money. And we had that discussion before we came on air about a particular course. And I was quite upfront with Cara about a particular course. It's my opinion. You still make your own decisions, but it's my opinion. You know, that do you need, do you not need? Have a think about it. If you revisit it again and you think, yeah, that's right for me, then you do it. That's bottom line, but you need to let it just marinate.
It's the whole like sleeping on a purchase thing. Of course, you need to let it marinate. And that's true with anything that you put value enough on to spend money. But I also think it's indicative of, I mean, it might be a fantastic course and you might get a lot out of it, and you might, whether it's free or paid or whatever. But when you're so overwhelmed that you don't even have time to sit and look at the information, and you're just letting it sit in your inbox, and then before you know it, it's 3 pages deep in your inbox and you've forgotten about it and whatever. It's not that the course isn't invaluable. It's that you're in reactive mode and you're being led around mode.
Absolutely. You need to definitely be ahead of the curve that way. You need to be properly proactive, and the only way that you can be proactive is, again, scheduling in time. And I think people find this really difficult because they feel guilty that they should be doing something else, but they need to schedule time to think, right, what have I just done for the last week or for the last month or whatever suits you. It will be different for everybody. And think what was working, what wasn't working, what is my absolute focus. And I always ask myself a really simple question of, does X get me closer or further away to my goal, assuming I know what the goal is and what my system is.
Right.
But that keeps things really clear for me and really focused, because you might be, when you're starting out, you might be 6 months away from making the kind of sales that you want to make, or even a year. I mean, let's face it, most small businesses take up to 2 years to really kickstart and get going consistently. And I don't think a lot of people are prepared for that. They don't.
It's going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and it's not, because what they do is social media is filled with all the good stuff, all the good stories. There's very little actual reality out there. And I'm thinking in the new year about doing a kind of reality check, exercise or tweet or however the heck I'm going to do it for my tribe. And it's exactly that, is to tell the truth, because failure isn't a bad thing. Failure is about learning something and then not making that mistake again and moving forward. But yeah, it's too easy to get caught up in that.
Well, it's the success story thing, and that's how people sell their stuff.
Right? I actually wrote a blog in reply to people talking about making 6 figures, and I'd had enough of it. And it was like, I am sick of this 6-figure mantra. I get why people do that, because it sells their stuff, but it really hacks me off, because you might have made 6 figures, but what was the profit on it? And remember, when I'm sitting in Scotland, 6 figures in Great British pounds and sterling is very different from US dollars.
Right, it is. Or this is the one that I've been hearing lately, the how to land a $10,000 client in a week.
This is a new one. I haven't seen that one yet. So this is the new trend, is it? Right, okay.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to knock too much on. Everybody's got their expertise, and a lot of people do what we do, where it's like, I'm not perfect, but I've figured this piece out, and here's how I did that, and I want to help you do that too. That's totally cool. I don't think these people are unethical. I don't think that they're selling, something that they haven't done. But it goes back to what you talk about, Kat, where that doesn't mean that that's going to work for them. And you have to take a look at who you are and how you function, because that tactic probably or might not work for you.
Yeah, and that's really the big key. You're absolutely right, Cara. I'm not knocking these people at all. I think some are a bit dodgy, but in the main, most people are doing it. But the problem is they're following this trend again. They're not setting out their stall to be different or to stand out. They're seeing people talk about 6-figure sums and how to make it, and then everybody does it, and all their blogs are the same. And you're like, surely, even me, who's rubbish at copywriting, even me I could come up with a more unique and more original title than following meh, like a sheep.
Yeah.
You know?
Or here's exactly how I did it. You just have to do the same thing, and it's like, well, no.
No, absolutely not. Because a lot of these people, the reason that they are reaching that level of success, and I'm not being harsh, but it's because they're teaching other people, you know, that space of being in online. It's not it's not actually like me coaching about strengths. I'm not teaching other coaches how to coach strengths. You're not teaching other social media strategists.
Right.
Maybe that's what we should be doing. Maybe that's what we're doing wrong. But it's kind of like, so I get why that works, and I get why they share that information. And I've done some amazing courses with amazing people who have taught me, because it's the how to. It's not the this worked for me, this will work for you. Absolutely not. It's here's the plan, here's exactly what you need to be doing. And it's not about the person per se and the personality of selling, because that's a very different thing. So yeah, it's absolutely about, finding great courses. They're out there. Check out the recommendations, check out the testimonials, and then of course, MD can spend their money how they like, but just take that time to find the right course for the right outcome that you're looking for with the right kind of expert.
Or hire a professional to do it the right way, specifically for your business, and just get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's frustrating otherwise. I see people getting ripped off all the time because I'm new in this space and this is what everybody else is doing. So this is what I feel I need to do, and it's not always the case. So yeah, I'm not having a go. Apologies if anybody thought I was having a go. Not having a go. I'm just about.
Well, I've got to cut it because I've got a appointment.
No problem. Well, cheers. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. We will be back on January 7th.
Yep, absolutely.
For our regular Thursday morning / evening Blab about social media and productivity. So thank you for joining us, everybody that joined us. And Kat, Merry Christmas and cheers.
Merry Christmas. Have a good one.
Bye.